Everything is quite simple. One of the things I've found is, these people that write books on leadership, and they're $30, as we were mentioning, and they're 200 pages. They try to make things complex to make it easy. Ever had diet books that are huge? You got to count everything from, everything you eat, and you got to worry about carbohydrates. Oh, no, it's not carbohydrates. It's protein. No, it's not protein. It's something else. Everybody's got different opinions. They try to make it complex to make it easy. If you follow this 200-step program, you will be fine. By the way, along with diet and exercise, right? If you just do the diet and exercise, it works. I have a diet book that's actually only one paragraph long. So again, I'm not selling very many of them, right? $30, just. It's eat whatever you want, exactly the way you would normally eat it. Put it on your plate, draw a line through the middle, throw half of it away. Guaranteed to work. Right? Simple. Now, is it easy? How do you throw away one of 2 lobster tails or half of a apple crumb pie with whipped cream on top? One of my favorites. Not easy, right? But it's not complex either, right? And most things in life I find are not complex. They're easy. They're not easy. They're simple. Right? And there's an old saying that when you're in trouble, you want to get back to the basics. Right? I always ask, why do we ever leave them? Because that's when you get into trouble, right? So, leaders always walk the talk. Now, I know you've heard this, different versions of this through media and all that quite a bit. I want you to know I started this in 1986. I checked, the earliest I could see anybody use something like that was Vince Lombardi of the Green Bay Packers back in the 60s. And he coined, some can talk the talk, but few walk the walk. Or many can talk the talk, but few walk the walk. Now, I'm the second person to use it, so Vince and I have a copyright on this, right? We're owed 50 cents anytime anybody uses it again. So I'm worth millions, really. I haven't collected any yet, but I'm worth millions. Right? What do you think I mean by walk the talk? Keep promises. Say what you mean. Mean what you say. Practice what you preach. Who said that? Be visible? Interesting. What's that? Put your muscle through your mouth. Muscle. All right. So was there one more?
Something about actions, follow your order.
All right, you guys are getting it. There's this idea of keeping promises. I would add keep or manage all promises. Yeah, if somebody says, can you do this for me by next Friday? And you say, yeah, no problem. Then you get back to your office or get back someplace and say, oh my goodness, I got these other 3 things to do by Friday. The time to call back to the person is 1 microsecond later, not Thursday night. Because Thursday or Friday morning when you say, the reason I don't have it done is because, what is that principle that we just, was that an excuse, right? It wasn't my fault, it was all these other things I had going. So keep them at, now one of the things about the word promise, it's critical. We have a little bit of mischief in us. Do you remember as a child, of course none of you did this, but some people as a child would say, I didn't say promise. Right? I said I'd do it, but I didn't say promise, right? If I didn't say promise, then it wasn't really a promise, was it? And our youngest daughter we had to do pinky promise, right? It wasn't really just a promise, it had to be a really strong promise, right? And so we have a little bit of that mischief as to what is a promise. You know, I was running companies, I'd cause pain to all my management team. I said, a promise is anything you say or imply. Actually, a promise is anything you don't refute. Right? In other words, even things you don't say. And say, wait a minute, you're catching me everywhere. Said, absolutely. I said, if your boss comes in and there's 10 people in a room and we're having a meeting and the boss says, we got a problem with this and we need to do something about it, he gets called away by his boss and doesn't come back to the meeting. Has anybody got any responsibility in that meeting? The mischief is, well, nobody got it assigned. I guess we got to wait. But leaders would say, we can't leave this room until we do something about it. Boss said there was a problem. We all have it. That's what leadership is. Right? So I would challenge my people on that. So keep or manage promises and knowing what the word promise is. Everything you imply, everything you say. Now, that's about a third of this principle. The bigger part of this principle is other people will write the talk based on your walk. Right? It doesn't really matter what you say. For example, have you ever had a group of people talking and somebody says, well, I always do this, and whenever this happens, I always do this. And when he or she walks away, the rest of you say, is he kidding? Right? Other people know you better than you know yourself. Right? The people that usually fool you are yourself. Right? Because you have this vision. People know based on what you've done. Right? If you see somebody whose words are one and actions are different, what do you believe? The actions. Always the actions. Right? So does it really matter what you say? People already know who you are. So maybe the way you build up what other people think about you is just by actions. I think somebody put it in here, right? Practice what you preach. Actions follow your words. But a lot of people don't realize how fragile that whole aspect of your reputation is based on your actions. I'll give you an example from a company example. When I first started with Gestetner, the copier company, I said we got 3 principles we're going to run this company. One is we're going to delight the customer. I always felt that. They always call me old-fashioned for using the word delight. You know, the young people wanted to use wow or something like that. Right? No, delight. I like delight. It's better than satisfy, better than it's delight. And the second one was you never compromise your integrity. And the third one was always treat people with respect. You can run a company just with those 3, nothing else. By the way, the only reason I go with 3 is I can't remember the number 4. It's just, do you know in the Aborigines in Australia, the number system is 1, 2, and many? Right? When you go through pretty well all of life with 1, 2, and many, right? In my financial world, you get to decimal point, 3 decimal points, but again, 3 decimal points. Can't remember the 4th. So the whole, what's that? Where was I? 1, 2, and 3. Right, thank you. So never compromise integrity was one of those 3 principles. So I asked my management team, I said, any time that you have an integrity issue, because we had some problems before, I was VP of the company before and I knew there were some integrity issues. I said, bring it forward to me, we're going to run with this new principle. And so one day they brought me into the office, said, we have an integrity issue. And I said, so what's that? He says, well, we've caught a sales rep forging a customer's signature on an order. I says, oh, wow, what's the situation there? He says, well, This guy's 50% a quota. He was shut out for the whole month, and he had a customer that was thinking of ordering one but needed the board to approve it. And it's the end of the month, and so he decided to put the order in and hope that it would go through, and therefore he wouldn't get shut out. Turns out the board didn't approve the order, so when we called to confirm, they said, well, we didn't order anything. And we found out that the sales rep had forged the signature. And I said, oh, interesting. What do you want to do here? I asked the team, and they said, well, this guy doesn't look like this is his right job. You know, he's 50% a quota. He's pretty depressed. I think he needs to find his way, and he's not really a good salesperson. So I think we should let him go. I said, okay, get HR involved, make sure we do it with dignity, but sounds like a plan. And about 4 months later, they called me in again. They said, we have another integrity issue. I said, so what's that? Well, we caught a sales rep forging customers' initials on a delivery slip. I said, okay, explain how that comes about. He says, well, it's the end of the quarter, and we had this installation contest, and this sales rep needed one more to win the nationwide contest for installations. So the customer didn't want it till the following week. Friday was the end of the quarter cutoff. Right? He put the copier, it was a small desktop, in the back of his station wagon, and he was going to deliver it on Monday, but he signed the slip as if he had delivered it on Friday to make the contest. I said, well, it turns out the customer actually didn't cancel the order, and he returned the copier, and that's how we found out. Because how did you return a copier that was delivered? I said, okay, what do you want to do here? Well, this guy's, he's 150% a quota. He's our sales rep of the year last year. He's actually half of the Philadelphia branch. Top guy, top-notch guy. We'd like to give him a warning in his file, right? Stern warning, written warning in his file. I said, I understand. And I'm walking out, and for some young people you not know, but one of my favorite shows at the time was called Columbo. Anybody know Columbo, right? Remember Peter Falk in his raincoat? He'd always do the, oh, one more thing. You remember? And he'd walk back in, right? And I said, you know that new sales rep we just hired in San Diego? I said, yeah. He says, well, he's going to see that plaque we put on the wall in every branch that says, you know, never compromise integrity. He's going to ask his buddies, what does that mean? And they'll say, we tell you what it means, right? If you're 50% a quota and you cheat, you get fired. If you're 150% a quota and you cheat, you get a warning. We think at 250 you can steal the branch. It's okay, right? At 100% a quota, I think you get a whipping. You know the VP of sales has those riding whips on the wall, so I think you get a whipping. But for the next 5 years, we will write the book one page at a time, one incident at a time, as to what it means never to compromise integrity, right? Because the words say never compromise integrity, but now we have two actions that are different. So what do the words mean? Right? Nothing. And do we have a principle then? Like, write the principle that covers those two instances, right? This guy gets a warning, the first guy got fired. What principle would you write that would cover that properly? Right on. Sales trumps integrity. How about we only hire honest poor performers or dishonest top performers? Right? One of those two. But it sure isn't never compromise integrity. You see how words don't matter? All it takes is one action not congruent with the words before it's blown. Right? If you notice somebody lying to you once, how long does it take before you can trust everything that person says? Quite a while, right? Eventually they can build themselves back up. Right? Or you could say, well, he only lies about these areas, but on this area you can really count his words, right? how do you know, right? You're not sure. When it comes to leadership, personal success, I always say, do very little of this. Just know what you do is all that counts. Thoughts? Questions?
What'd they end up doing?
Fired him. Over the VP of sales, almost dead body. He was so livid, right? I fired his top sales rep. I hated doing it. It hurt. But it's the best thing I ever did. We did not have another integrity issue for the rest of the years that I was there. The company had no issues after that. They said if they would fire the top sales rep, right, for that, where the company didn't lose any money, we got the copier back, all that, right? We didn't pay out the contest, then I better stop doing whatever I'm doing, right? Forget about expense, everything else. Very critical piece. Watch your actions versus your words.